Hello friends! Someone asked me on social media if I could create a quick rundown about JavaScript loops, so I thought I'd make this video. So let's jump into Visual Studio Code and give a few examples of loops. So I just created a folder called loops and then a HTML with just a short body tag with an h1, JavaScript loops, h2, general loops, for, while, do while, and array specific iterations, which will be forEach and map, and we will also take a look at forIn and forOf loops. Okay, so let's get started. Let's jump into JavaScript, and also in our browser, let's right click and inspect and go to the console. Okay, so first the for loop. So basically a for loop takes in three things. The way we define for loop is typing in the for keyword, then open and close parentheses, and within curly braces we'll then type in the execution, and within parentheses we'll type in a variable called let. So this needs to be let or var, never use const because this will change. And then we can assign it to I equals, let's say 0. We'll separate it by a semicolon, and then we'll tell it that this should run until I is less than 0. Then we will iterate I++, which just means that I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, so this basically means this. Okay, now down here within our curly braces, let's now console log. Let me comment this out. Let's console log I. Let's see what happens. And first of all, nothing, because as long as I is less than 0, the loop stops. So let's move on to, let's say, 2. And this will give us 2 loops. And if we increase it to, let's say, 10, well, 100, don't do that. And let's hit save again. Now we get from 0 to 9. And we don't get 10 unless we type in less or equal to 10. So if I hit save now, it goes to 10. Okay, so this is a for loop. Now let's take a look at the while loop. And for this, I'm going to create a const of cars. And I'm going to set it to an array of cars. And let's type in here a few strings of Tesla, my favorite car. FYI, my birthday is coming up, so if you want to give me a Tesla, you can do that. And now Audi, then BMW, and there should also be a string. And yeah, that's enough. Or let me just type in here, or say Ford. Okay, so we got an array with 4 items in it. Now let's do a while loop on this array. And this time I'm going to put the variable outside of the loop. So I'm going to declare here let, let's call it m equals to 0. So as long as m is equal to 0. And now let's type in here while. And now within parentheses, we'll type in the condition as long as m is less than cars dot length, then we should console log cars. We type in m++. Now if we hit save, we can see that the while loop runs through the array of cars 4 times. And if I change this to the m, the variable, to 2, it will only run 2 times, and it will console log. It will only run 2 times. And now if I type in here array of m, then it will console log the 2 less cars. If I change this back to 0, it will give me all of our cars. Okay, now let's do a do while loop. Now again, I'm going to start off with the variable outside of our loop, and this time I'm going to take n and give it the value 0. We write do curly braces, then let's console log, let's say car, let's take a space here, plus n, and now down here the iterator n++. Let's close this up, let's close this up, and at the end, so after our curly braces, we'll write in while, and this will tell how it should run. We will give it now the condition while n is less than 4. And now if we hit save, we get car 0, car 1, car 2, and car 3. Now if I want to use here the array of cars. So let's take this. The condition will be, again, as long as cars.length is less than n. And here we'll console log cars.n, not m, and close this up. And now we'll get car Tesla, car Audi, car BMW, and car Ford. Okay, now let's take a look at the forEach loop, which is actually a method. So let's say we want to take our cars again, an array of cars. So let's type in here cars.forEach, and this takes in a callback function. So I'm going to use function, and now I'm going to use the singular of cars. So for each car within cars, let's console log car. Let's see what this gives me. Give me again Tesla, Audi, car, BMW, and Ford. Let me actually comment out let it's the while loop, the do while loop, and this one, so we don't get confused in here. Okay, now we're only console logging the for each loop. Now this can also take in a index. Let's type here index, and also the entire array. Okay, so for now we just called cars. Now let's also call the index of cars. So for this I will just console log, and now I'm going to use template literal for, let's say, the index, and then from the array of cars, the car itself. So now when we are looping, let me actually make this smaller and comment out our first console log of cars. Hit save again. Now it's getting me the index, which is for the first car 0 up here. Arrays are 0 based. So 0 is Tesla, 1 is Audi, 2 is BMW, and 3 is Ford. And we could also console log the entire array. Okay, so let me comment this one out. And now it's looping through the array 4 times. Okay, so that's pretty much it for each. Let's take a look at map. And for this, I'm going to create a array of objects. So let's say const, let's go with cars again. Let's go with car brands. So we stay within the car theme. Okay, so let's create an array, and let's create within this array 4 objects. And now let's say we want to assign each car a ID. So first of all, let's create here an object with ID. I'm going to set it to 1 for the first car, then comma, and brand name. And let's type in here a string of Tesla. And now let me copy this 2 more times and separate it with commas. And this will be ID2 and ID3. And this will be, let's change it up with Skoda. I think this is how Skoda is typed. And Toyota. Now let's say we want to call the IDs of the cars. So let me create here another const of IDs. And now I'm going to take the car brands and give it the method of map. And within the map, we're going to use this time a arrow function. Because this also takes in a callback function. So this I'm going to use an arrow function. And we're going to go through the brand name. And within here, let's create an arrow function. And let's say that this should return a brand name dot ID. Okay, so now if I would console log the IDs, we would get 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're not just getting the IDs. Now let's take a look at a for in loop. And for this, I'm going to create an object of, let's say, user. So this user will have a first name, which is, let's say, Norbert. You can use any name you want, but I'm going to use my name. And last name, Manhart. And let's say age of 35. Okay, so we have our object of user. Now we're going to create a for, and within here we're going to create a variable let. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it u in user, and within curly braces we can now get the key value pairs. So first of all, let's get the key. Now we'll console log the u. Okay, so this will get me first name, last name, age. We could also get the value. Now we will console log user, and within square brackets we'll now type in the u, and this will give me the value. And now if I want to get the key value pair, let me actually comment this to out. So I would now console log, and let's use the template literal, and now let's console log first of all the u, and after that a column, and then the user and u. Okay, and now I'm getting the key value pair. So first name Norbert, last name Manhart, and age 35. Now let's stop. We're going to take a look at the for in, and just to demonstrate what the difference between a regular for and a for in is, we're going to create another for loop for the cars that we had for this cars example. So if you want to use a regular for loop, let's say for let I is equal to 0, and as long as I is less than cars dot length, because you're using an array here, then you should iterate I plus plus, and within here let's console log let's say string for each car. Let's just say for car. So for plus the string of cars, and we'll use our variable of I, and there we go. And let me actually comment this to out, and also this one, and also for the forEach. Okay, so now if we hit save, we just get for Tesla, for Audi, for BMW, and for Ford. So this is this for right here, just using it to demonstrate that this is the for loop. Now let's do a for in, a for of loop, and for this we're going to type in for again, and let's create here a variable of car, of cars, and now we're just going to console log the same thing, but this time I'm going to type in here within the string a for of, and we don't need this. We're just going to iterate for the car. Okay, so now you can see this is much simpler and much cleaner than this, the for of instead of the regular for loop. Okay, so we just took car, each car in cars, and console logged car. Okay, so that's basically it. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Okay guys, see you next time. Bye bye.